Okay, so I think we'll get started. Thank you so much for joining us today. Feel free to turn on your cameras. I'd love to see you guys. First off, I just wanted to wish you a big mazal tov on your Aliyah. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the post-Aliyah guide. Some of you may have it as in the hard copy form. It's this pamphlet, it's about 16 pages. We also have all of the information online in a slightly different format, so you can access that. And my name is Ariella. I'm joined today by my colleague, Ariella, so that'll be easy for you guys. There are only two of us, two Ariellas on the team. We aren't hiding anymore. And so I will be speaking today, giving the presentation, and my colleague Ariella will be putting links in the chat and also answering questions in the chat. So if you have any questions, I mean, we are quite a small group today. So as I'll be going through, I'll stop after each section and open it up for questions. But also during, you're more than welcome to put questions in the chat as well. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Bear with me. Okay, so here is the post-Aliyah guide. This is also what it looks like in the hard copy. The web version looks a little bit different from this. And in the web version, you also have all of the links that you need. So just to make it easy on myself, are all of the people in this Zoom of Ole Chadash or Ola Chadasha status?
I am not.
Okay, great. If anybody is of a different status, if you have previous Israeli background, or if you're a previous A1 temporary resident, then feel free to call out and let me know, because that may change the order of things a little bit. But if you're all Olim Chadashim of Ole Chadash status, then that'll make things easy. They'll just be the same across the board for all of you. Okay, so here's the post-Aliyah guide. On the first page, you'll see the Ole glossary. This is really cool. It gives a lot of terms that we may use. Even if you call our hotline, we'll probably use these terms in Hebrew rather than in English, like bituach leumi. We'll say bituach leumi instead of National Insurance Institute of Israel, just because that's what we refer to it as, and it's much easier that way. So on your own time, I do suggest going through this glossary. It may really help you get familiar with these terms that you'll be saying a lot over the course of the next few weeks. On the bottom of each page, you'll see our contact information. This comes directly to my team, which is the Government Advocacy or the Answers team. We deal with all post-Aliyah questions and issues that you may have. So our hotline is open from 9 to 3, Sunday through Thursday. We also have an email, and you can reach us just by dialing *3680. Ariel will also put that information in the chat. So before we jump into your next steps after Aliyah, I'm just going to go over what you received or should have received at Misrad HaKlita at the airport when you landed. So when you landed at the airport, you should have been met by a Misrad HaKlita representative, or possibly even an Nefesh B'Nefesh representative, or both at the airport, and you would have been brought to the Misrad HaKlita office. At Misrad HaKlita, you should have gotten a TEUDAT Ole. This is the Ole booklet. It kind of looks like a passport. Don't get it confused for a passport. It is not a passport. This is your booklet that will show different government offices, which rights and benefits you have as Olim Chadashim. You should have also gotten a healthcare registration form. Before you made Aliyah, you would have told your pre-Aliyah advisor which Kupat Cholim you wanted to join. So on this healthcare registration form, it'll be mostly in Hebrew. One word in English will be the name of the Kupat Cholim of choice. And also, you would have gotten a first cash payment of Sal Klita. That's the absorption basket money, that gift that you get from Misrad HaKlita. You would have also gotten a note of future bank account. This is a form that you'll have stamped by your bank when you go and open up your bank account, and then you'll bring it with you to your next step after that, which is back to Misrad HaKlita, but your local branch of Misrad HaKlita. And you should have also gotten an Israeli SIM card. This lasts for 3 months, and it's 3 months from when you get it, not from when you activate it. So I do suggest, if you haven't already, that you activate it now. And it'll also say your phone number on it. This phone number is yours if you wish to keep it, because it'll probably just be easier that way. Once you start using a phone number and give it out to different government offices and different people, you can keep this phone number whether you stay with Hot Mobile, which is the current provider, or whether you choose to move to a different provider after your 3 months are up. Okay. Does anybody have questions about what you got at Misrad HaKlita at the airport before we move on to the next step? Okay.
I don't have.
I'm sorry?
I don't have.
Oh, you don't have questions. Okay. Great. Okay, so your first step after making Aliyah, after you've met with Misrad HaKlita, is to apply for your biometric TEUDAT ZEHUT. That you will do at what we call Misrad HaPnim. It's also Reshut HaUchlusin VeHagira, the Population and Immigration Authority. This is the government office where you'll apply for your biometric TEUDAT ZEHUT, receive your temporary TEUDAT ZEHUT, and in the future, you'll also apply for your passport at this same government office. So what's your first step? Your first step is to make an appointment with Misrad HaPnim. You can't go to Misrad HaPnim if you don't have an appointment. Now, the thing about Misrad HaPnim is that since the Corona period, it's kind of been backlogged. All the Misrad HaPnim offices across the country are difficult to get appointments for. So you'll need to download the MyVisit app or go on myvisit.com. That's where you make an appointment for this government office. And you'll know that you're making an appointment for the right office because you'll see this logo, okay? And you'll go on and you may see that there isn't an appointment available until May. But don't let that deter you from trying again and again, because they're constantly opening up appointments with cancellations. And also sometimes they'll open up all of a sudden 10 appointments for the same day. So before you go on once and then give up because you don't see anything, I would suggest a few days in a row, pick a few different times throughout the day that you go on the MyVisit app or the MyVisit website and scan through to see if any new appointments have popped up. Now, the thing about Misrad HaPnim is you don't have to go to your local branch. You could go to a branch in a different city. Just, make sure that it's not too difficult for you to get to because you don't want to miss your appointment. And also because if for whatever reason you're not able to pick up your TEUDAT ZEHUT from your local post office where it'll probably go once it comes to you, you'll have to go back to the branch from which it was issued to get it. Okay, so feel free to scan local branches I find that the app actually works better for me than the website. I find it really user-friendly. You just put in your phone number, your TEUDAT ZEHUT number, and then the branch that you want. And you'll also have to put in that you're looking to apply for your first biometric TEUDAT ZEHUT. And see what comes up. If you've tried for a few days in a row and really there's nothing and you're incredibly frustrated, and we get it, it's frustrating, totally understand, give us a call at our hotline number and we'll try and see what we could do to help you get an appointment, okay? So what you'll need to bring with you when you go to Misrad HaPnim, bring all of your original documents that you made Aliyah with, including apostilles. If you can also get copies of those, that would be ideal. You'll need to bring your original proof of Judaism, all the documentation that you got at Misrad HaKlita at the airport. You'll also need 2 passport photos. You'll need to bring a valid foreign passport. And note that there is no fee for your first biometric TEUDAT ZEHUT. Okay, now what will you be doing when you go to Misrad HaPnim? So yes, you will be applying for your biometric TEUDAT ZEHUT, and they will take your picture there for your biometric TEUDAT ZEHUT. Now, why do you have to bring the passport photos with you? That's because you'll also get your temporary TEUDAT ZEHUT on the spot. because after you apply for a biometric TEUDAT ZEHUT, it can take up to 2 or 3 weeks for it to come by courier. We don't want you to have to wait 2 or 3 weeks until your next step. So you'll also be getting on the spot a laminated temporary TEUDAT ZEHUT card that'll have an expiration date of 9 months from when you receive it. And that's a real regular TEUDAT ZEHUT. Obviously, when you get your biometric TEUDAT ZEHUT in the mail, you'll switch over to use your biometric. But until you get it, you'll have this temporary TEUDAT ZEHUT. And with that, you can go on to your next step. Also note that you'll get a piece of paper that has a 4-digit code on it and a tracking number. This is a long number that begins with the letters RR. And with this, you can track your biometric TEUDAT ZEHUT once it's sent out to you. So if the next day after going to Misrad Apnim, you try and track your TEUDAT ZEHUT, nothing will come up because it hasn't been printed yet. But if after 2 weeks you haven't heard anything, you can go on the Israel Post website, and Ariella can post a link for that, and you can track your TEUDAT ZEHUT to see where it is. Sometimes you'll see that it hasn't been sent out yet. Sometimes it'll be on its way to you, or it'll say that they tried to deliver it and you weren't at home. If you're not home when they try to deliver it, no problem. They bring it to the nearest post office, and you should also get an SMS to your phone letting you know where it is. Okay, so you will walk out of Misrad Apnim with your temporary TEUDAT ZEHUT, and attached to that will be a sefach, or the addendum to your TEUDAT ZEHUT. Your TEUDAT ZEHUT comes in a little blue folder. On one side is the card, on the other side is the addendum to the TEUDAT ZEHUT that has all your information that may change over time, such as marital status, children under the age of 16, and your home address and things like that. And you'll also have that code paper. When your biometric TEUDAT ZEHUT does come to you by courier, or after you pick it up from the post office, note that you will have to activate it, okay? Because it's biometric, it needs to be activated, and this usually is a pretty easy process. After Misrad Apnim has been notified that you received your TEUDAT ZEHUT, you will receive an SMS to your phone saying, we were notified that you received your TEUDAT ZEHUT. If this is correct, please reply with a 1. If this is not correct, please reply with a 0. Once you press 1 and reply, that will activate your TEUDAT ZEHUT card. Does anybody have any questions before I move on to the next step? Okay. Step number 2 is to open up your Israeli bank account. Now that you're officially Israeli with an official TEUDAT ZEHUT number, which is your ID number, that's how you'll be identified here in this country. For almost anything you'll need to, any type of thing that you open up, you'll need to provide your TEUDAT ZEHUT number. So it's the same with your bank account. Now that you're opening up a bank account as an Israeli citizen, you're opening it up under your TEUDAT ZEHUT number. In most cases, the banks will require for you to have the actual TEUDAT ZEHUT card in order to open up the bank account, which is why applying for your biometric ID card comes before opening up your bank account. In order to open up an account, you'll need 1 minute, Catriel. I'm just going to finish the sentence and then I'll open up for questions. Before you go to open up your bank account, you will need to make an appointment, okay? These days, you can't walk into a bank and just go and open up an account because it takes about an hour plus just to open up an account here. So before you go to the bank, just give them a call and make an appointment with whichever bank you choose. Yeah, Catriel.
So I went last week to get my appointment. It'll be on Wednesday. I already have a bank account. They're switching everything over. I have the blue folder that you're talking about, but I don't have the actual card. Am I supposed to do something first?
Okay, so there is actually a law that states that you are able to, within your first 30 days of Aliyah, that you're able to open up a bank account using your TEUDAT Ole, which is what you're referring to, that
Yes.
you got at Misrad HaKlita, okay? We have found in the past that some of the banks have an issue with opening up your bank account using your TEUDAT just because they need, in order for them to apply the information correctly into their own systems, they need the issue date of your ZEHUT card in order to move on to the next step. And so not because they don't want to follow the law or because they don't want to help you, but they're just not able to do it without the card. I would suggest going, since you already have that scheduled. I would suggest going, and it's kind of a similar process to opening up a brand new bank account when you have already an Israeli bank account, but it's under a foreign passport number, and you have to switch it over. It's pretty much a similar process to just opening up a new bank account from scratch. If you already have that appointment, just go. And bring your TEUDAT and see if they'll agree to do it. Either they'll tell you one of two things: either we really want to help you, but unfortunately we can't, and we need you to come back when you have your actual ID card, or they'll be able to open it for you with your TEUDAT and they'll say to you, you need to come back within 30 days with your ID card.
Okay, so how do I get the ID card then? Because like when I was at the airport, they told me to go to the bank next. That was like my next step. So I just want to make sure I get it right.
So we'll refer back to the previous step that we were just discussing and how to make an appointment for Misrad HaPnim, okay? It's through MyVisit, myvisit.com, or through the MyVisit app. You make an appointment for Reshut HaUchlusin VaHagira. And then you go and apply for your biometric TEUDAT ZEHUT. And again, try a few days in a row, few different times during the day to see if you can catch, grab an appointment as they open up. And if you're not able to, then give us a call at our hotline number and we'll try and see what we can do to help you get an appointment. Okay?
If you don't mind me interjecting for a second, Ariella, I just wanted to say I do really encourage, especially because everyone here, that your status is an Ole, and so everyone should have gotten a TEUDAT Ole at the airport, to try to open up a bank account within the first month, because it does just help get the ball rolling. As Ariella Schwartz said, you may have some problems if you go to a certain bank. I believe like Bank Mizrahi, across the board, they will accept with just a TEUDAT Ole. Maybe ask if you know other Olim in your community if they have a certain bank that they recommend. But I would definitely recommend trying to open up a bank account within the first month.
For sure. Ariella is absolutely right. Also, the first 4 steps that we're going to talk about today are the more time-sensitive steps that you really don't want to push off. So the first one being applying for your biometric TEUDAT ZEHUT and also receiving your temporary TEUDAT ZEHUT at the same time. That's one step. And then the second is your bank account. So we'll go into, we already talked about first making an appointment before going to open up your new bank account. Now, what you need when you come to the bank. So again, you'll bring all of your documentation that you might think is necessary. If you have like a binder that you made Aliyah with all of your original documents, just bring that with you to all these different appointments. You never know when you're going to need something. So you'll definitely need your TEUDAT Ole, that Ole booklet that you got at Misrad HaKlita at the airport. Sorry, one moment. You're going to need your TEUDAT ZEHUT if you have that. And again, we're talking about probably the temporary TEUDAT ZEHUT card. You'll bring your passport. That's your valid foreign passport. Money to make a deposit into the account. That's how you activate it. You'll bring that note of future bank account, which is that document that we talked about that you received at Misrad HaKlita at the airport. And just note that U.S. citizens are going to be asked to complete a W-9 form and to provide their social security numbers, okay? This is normal. Every single bank in Israel asks for this from U.S. citizens. What you'll be getting your bank account information. That includes your branch number, your account number, and all the information that you need to do online banking. I highly suggest that you get familiar with your bank's website and how they do online banking. It's super useful to not have to go in all the time to the bank every time you need to do something. That Note a Future bank account that you received at Misrad HaKlita at the airport will be stamped, and you'll bring that with you for the next step that you do. And any information proving that you've activated your account as well. Any questions? Go ahead.
Yes, just one. In regards to, so I have Discount Bank. I was wondering, can you go into any bank of Discount Bank, or does the branch matter?
The branch absolutely matters. Here in Israel, it's not like it is in the US, where you're with Chase Bank, for example, and you could go to any Chase across the country. Here in Israel, you really need to go to your branch. Okay. One other thing that I forgot to mention, if you are married and you made Aliyah with your spouse and you're both Holim Chadashim, then you'll need to open up a joint bank account, because this is how you get your benefits from Misrad HaKlita. They will only deposit it into your account if you have a joint account. And if you are opening up a joint account, then I do recommend that you ask to sign a form called the Tofes Arichut Yamim. Okay, this form enables the spouse to have continued access to the bank account even when the other spouse passes away, instead of having the account frozen until the will is probated. Okay. Okay, step number 3 is Misrad Aliyah VaHaklita. This is your local Misrad HaKlita branch, okay? You can't make an appointment with the Misrad HaKlita branch in a different city. It needs to be your local branch. And if you're unsure where your branch is, if you live in Jerusalem, it's the Jerusalem branch. If you live in Tel Aviv, it's the Tel Aviv branch. But if you live somewhere else, like in a yishuv or a moshav, and you're not sure which Misrad HaKlita branch you should go to, we have all that information on our website, on the Misrad HaKlita page of our website. And I'm pretty sure Ariel is posting a link now for that. You, again, will need to make an appointment before going to your local Misrad HaKlita. Unlike Misrad HaPnim, where you can make an appointment through the My Visit website, you will need to make an appointment most likely by email. You can actually try going on the My Visit website and see if that works for you. A lot of the time it doesn't, and you need to make the appointment by email. So you email your local branch. The best way to do it is to put your name and your TEUDAT ZEHUT number in the subject of the email. And in the body of the email, write that you are an Ole Chadash or Ola Chadasha. You just made Aliyah and you would like to schedule an appointment with them. Okay. What you'll bring with you to your appointment. So you bring all of these things mentioned here and everything that you brought with you to your previous appointments, all the documents you made Aliyah with, your TEUDAT Ole that you received at the airport, your TEUDAT ZEHUT, and important, that form that you had stamped at the bank, you'll bring that with you to Misrad HaKlita. Misrad HaKlita needs your bank account information so that they can deposit your Sal Klita money into your account. You'll be activating your Sal Klita benefit when you're at Misrad HaKlita. This is the absorption basket gift money that you'll be getting from Misrad HaKlita. You'll be getting information about local ulpanim. If you wish to go to ulpan, this is the time to talk to your Misrad HaKlita advisor about ulpan. And advice on other local resources and on your other benefits. So I do suggest before going to Misrad HaKlita that you read through your list of benefits, just so that if you have any questions about your benefits, you can ask it at this meeting rather than leaving with questions about benefits. You want to come in with questions and leave with answers. I don't think this applies to any of you. Does anybody have questions about your Misrad HaKlita meeting? Ariella, is it okay if I ask you to just do step number 4? Because I have a little tickle in my throat and I just need a drink for a minute.
Sure, no problem. Okay, so assuming everyone here is Olim Chadashim, you should have received a piece of paper at the airport stating which Kupat Cholim, which healthcare provider you're registered for. It takes a few days in order for your information to show up in the system, but essentially a good 3 to 5 days after you arrive, it's safe to go to your local branch and get your membership card. You don't need your TEUDAT ZEHUT for this. You can go with your TEUDAT Olay and get a membership card. And also when you go to, let's say, Maccabi or Meuchedet, whichever Kupat Cholim you chose, to ask for a membership card, you can inquire about supplemental health care. You're covered for your basic health care in Israel for the first 6 months, and then I'll discuss in a second about after the first 6 months. But basically, you're covered for a basic plan, and many people choose to purchase something called Bituach Mashlim or supplemental health care. There's 2 different tiers for every healthcare provider, and you can discuss when you go there what exactly the benefits cover. And this is also an additional cost. If you sign up for healthcare for this supplemental healthcare within your first 3 months of Aliyah, you'll be waived a waiting period. Usually there's a waiting period to access certain benefits for supplemental healthcare. So if you are considering signing up, and we do recommend registering for one of the tiers, then you should do it within your first 3 months of Aliyah. Sorry, now I have a tickle in my throat. It's contagious.
We're both getting over cold.
Yeah, you can hear. Okay, thank you. And basically, we would recommend doing it within your first 3 months of Aliyah. It covers things such as it supplements your care for dental when you seek dental care through your provider. Also, if you want to see a doctor privately outside of your healthcare provider, they will supplement a certain amount of money towards that visit. So these are certain things that it's covered. And on another note, I mentioned about being covered for the first 6 months of Aliyah. Now there's something called Bituach Leumi, which we'd mentioned in the beginning, which is the National Insurance Institute. So everyone in Israel pays into Bituach Leumi. One of the many benefits that they give within the country is healthcare. Now, during your first 6 months of Aliyah, you're exempt from paying Bituach Leumi if you're unemployed. If you're employed, it'll just be deducted from your pay stub. After the first 6 months, you will need to begin setting up payments. Once again, if you're employed, it'll just be deducted from your pay stub. And after the first 6 months, you'll need to set up payments. We will be sending out an email about 6 months from your date of Aliyah, just as a reminder to set up payments. And if you have any questions, you can also be in touch about that. Any questions about registration for healthcare or Bituach Leumi?
I do. So you're saying that if we wanted the supplemental healthcare to do that sooner rather than later?
Yeah, because as I said, like if you were to sign up after the first 3 months, there's a waiting period. So you have to pay into it, let's say for 3 months until you can even access any of the services. Whereas if you sign up within the first 3 months, you have immediate access to any of the services.
Do you, where can I find like how much like Maccabi, their supplemental
so online, Maccabi has 2 tiers, Maccabi Zahav and Maccabi Sheli. The cost is according to age. It doesn't take into consideration conditions prior. So you'll find a chart on their website, and if you have any problems finding that, you can send us an email and we can direct you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ariella.
Yeah, pleasure.
Okay, so feel free, if you have any other questions about Kupat Cholim or Bituach Leumi or healthcare in general, you can put them in the chat, or, if something comes up a little bit later, obviously you can always email us or call us. Does anybody here have children under the age of 18?
Sorry, do you mind if I just address a question that was in the chat? And I just want to make sure
Absolutely.
that's, yeah, okay. So someone asked if it's important to deposit money in the bank account. And the reason why it is important is because if you don't have money in it, it's not active. And if it's not active, then if Misrata Klita tries to deposit money, the Sal Klita, it won't go in. So you need to put some money in. It can be like as small as 20 shekels, but you need to put some money in so that when the Misrata Klita starts transferring the money, that it can enter the account.
Okay, so I asked if anybody has children under the age of 18 because this benefit only applies to those people. And I don't think anybody does. Oh, yes.
Someone in the wrote in the
Is
chat,
that
yes.
Okay. All right. So monthly child benefits. Bituach Leumi, which is the National Insurance Institute that we were just talking about, offers a stipend to every citizen for every child under the age of 18, and you're eligible for this immediately after making Aliyah. So because it takes some time usually for people to open up their bank account and then give that bank account information to Misrad HaKlita, and they are going to give that information over to Bituach Leumi. It can take some time. So you might not see that money until, 2-3 months after making Aliyah, but then you should get it retroactively. I believe it's 51 shekels per child under the age of 18, if I'm not mistaken. Ariella, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, great. And if you see that you've passed 3 months and you haven't been receiving that, then you should look into that. Either talk to Bituach Leumi or talk to us, and we'll look into it for you because they only give it retroactively 3 months, and you don't want to miss out on it. In addition to that, there's a savings plan, and that Bituach Leumi deposits the money either into a what's it called? An investment account or into a savings account. And you can choose which account you'd like to have it deposited into. And you can also choose to match that money if you want to. So you can see all about that. Ariella can post that link and you can read up on the child benefits from Bituach Leumi. I'm going to skip over school registration. I would hope that anybody who has children already knows what school they're going to at this point. And if you don't, then please be in touch with us. Be in touch with us at our hotline or at on our email. Can you please mute yourselves? Anybody who doesn't have a question at this point, please make sure to mute yourselves.
I have a question.
Oh yeah, go
Can you
ahead.
hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I have, as a student, Bituach Leumi, but they gave me a fake ID number for that Bituach Leumi. So how do I correlate that with my new number, my new identification number?
If you were here on a student visa, I believe that it should change over automatically. Is that correct, Ariella?
Yeah, were you given like a 77 number?
Yes.
Yeah, so it should update automatically. You want to stay with the same healthcare provider?
It doesn't make a difference to me.
Okay, well, I guess it matters because, well, if you told your pre-Aliyah advisor that you want to stay with the same healthcare provider as before, so then that's the provider that you have, and if you want a new provider, then that's something I guess you would have.
stay with the same one because I figured that would be easier.
Okay,
But it doesn't
so
matter.
you should go in a few days to your local Kupat Cholim and get a new membership card that has your TEUDAT ZEHUT number on it.
Okay, but
Yeah,
it will, all my like history and stuff will carry over.
Yeah.
So for
all my
Bituach
doctor's visits and
Leumi,
stuff?
it will, but you should ask your Kupat to merge your files.
Okay. And yeah.
Bituach Leumi will
yeah.
have, you know, both those numbers as you, like they'll switch the number over to your TEUDAT ZEHUT number. And then when you go to your Kupat Cholim to pick up your new card, just make sure that they, you know, tell them your previous fake TEUDAT ZEHUT number and give them your new one and make sure that the files are merged, that they have your medical history there.
Okay. A little bit off topic, but related to what I just said. I also have an Israeli driver's license, also with a fake ID number that they gave me. How would I convert that, or do I have to convert that? Doesn't matter.
You don't have to convert it.
Okay, thank
Okay. All right. We're going to jump into the Arnona.
Can I
benefit,
ask
which
a
is
question? Can I
Sure.
ask a question
Sure.
about
Go.
a topic that was a little bit before, because we were a little late to come in. We just dealt with the bank today, and there were two issues there that I wonder if you can give me an answer for. First, they said that TEUDAT OLE that was given to us in the airport was not enough. We should have had some temporary TEUDAT ZEHUT. But we didn't get any temporary TEUDAT ZEHUT, only one TEUDAT OLE that both numbers are there to.
Right. So yes, we did address this earlier on. You
So-
need to go to Misrad HaPnim. Your very first step after making Aliyah is to go to Misrad HaPnim and apply for your biometric TEUDAT ZEHUT. And at the same meeting, you'll also get a temporary TEUDAT ZEHUT to tide you over until your biometric comes in the mail.
But would the number be the same number that's on
It's the
TEUDAT
same
OLE?
number, but
Okay.
most
Okay.
banks require that you have the actual ID card when opening up a bank account.
I get it. I have another question. About our place of staying at the moment is temporary, very temporary. So I requested to have an appointment for Misrad HaKlita, Misrad Aliyah VaKlita, in the area that I believe, first of all, we will more likely be more permanent in, and second, that it's an area I can actually reach because of my sister can take me with a car, because we don't have a car right now.
Okay, so I would
is
suggest
my-
that for right now, when you go to Misrad HaPnim to apply for your TEUDAT ZEHUT, if you don't yet have a permanent address, ask your sister if you can use her address so that you can go to the local Misrad HaKlita in her area, okay? Because the Misrad HaKlita branch you go to needs to reflect your official address listed on the addendum to your TEUDAT ZEHUT.
Do you mean to say that right now the file, the Oleh Chodesh file in Misrad HaKlita is right now only in the area where I am placing myself, where I told where I
Yes, you are
told them I
only
would-
permitted to go to the Misrad HaKlita branch that correlates to the official address on your TEUDAT ZEHUT.
Right, because she doesn't have a TEUDAT ZEHUT, it's whatever address you told the
Right.
Misrad HaKlita.
Mhm. Toda.
Sure. Okay, so we're going to talk now about the Arnona or municipal tax benefit. So Al Olim Chadashim have this benefit that they can use within their first 24 months of Aliyah, and it is a benefit that lasts for 12 months. So you do want to activate it within your first year of Aliyah, or rather up until your 13th month, because if you activate it after that, then you will lose out on this benefit. What this benefit is it's a 70 to 90% discount on the first 100 meters of your home for the municipal tax, okay? And you apply for it through your local municipality. So after, it doesn't necessarily have to be after you've gone to Misrad HaKlita, but you can also, by the way, talk to your Misrad HaKlita advisor about this benefit. But you apply for it directly through your municipality. You'll need to provide your TEUDAT OLE, a copy of your TEUDAT OLE, a copy of your TEUDAT ZEHUT, and proof that you live at the residence that you do. So if you already pay Arnona, let's say you've already been living in Israel, or you already have, you've owned a home in Israel in the past, and just now you made Aliyah. So that should be good because the municipality already knows that you're listed under that address. But if you've started renting, or if you just bought an apartment or a home, you'll need to prove that you live there. So you'll need to provide a contract of at least 12 months or some sort of proof of purchase to the municipality, along with a copy of your TEUDAT Ole and TEUDAT ZEHUT, and they will grant you the Ole Chadash discount. In most cases, you can do it through the municipality website. Okay. Driver's license conversion. So you actually have 5 years to convert your driver's license, but please note that you only have 1 year to drive on your foreign license from your last entry date to Israel following a 12-month period abroad. So I know this is a little confusing. If you just made Aliyah from abroad and you haven't been in Israel in the past year, that means that you have 1 year from your Aliyah date to drive on your foreign license. If you visited Israel 6 months ago, that means you have from that date 6 months ago until the same date the following year to drive on your foreign license. So in other words, 12 months to drive on your foreign license following a 12-month period abroad. So we do suggest that you convert your license sooner rather than later, because you don't want to be in a situation in which you need to drive here in Israel, but you can't because you don't have a valid license to drive on. So we have a full guide on our website that shows how to convert your license, all of the steps, and all of the links that you need through all of the steps. A lot of it is online, such as the first step, which is to fill out the online application for Israeli driver's license, or also called the Tofes Yarok, because it used to be an actual green piece of paper that you would have to go and have signed by an optician and fill out with all your information. So now you fill out the form online, and then once it's accepted, you'll receive an SMS to your phone letting you know that your application has been received and approved, and you're ready to go on to your next step, which is to do a vision test at an optometrist. It can't be any optometrist. It has to be one that's affiliated with one of the private companies that provides services for Misard Harishui or the DMV. And again, you have a list linked on our website that you can look and see which optician you can go to. There you'll have your vision test, and you'll also have your picture taken that will be used on your driver's license when you get it later on. Okay, so first step is to apply online. Second step is to visit the optician and have your picture taken there. And then the third step after that, depending on how long you've been driving, how long you've had your foreign license, can differ from person to person. So if you've had your foreign license for under 2 years, you'll need to take a theory test and a driving test. If you've had your foreign license for between 2 and 5 years, you'll need to do just the driving test. And if you've had your foreign license and could prove that you've had your foreign license for a consecutive 5 years up until your Aliyah date, then you can skip the theory test and the driving test. You can do what's called the expedited procedure and go to Misrat Harishoy and essentially just receive your driver's license on the spot. You should note that if any of you, first of all, if any of you are over the age of 70, there's an additional form that you'll need to fill out, also linked on our website. You'll need to have it signed by both a family doctor and the optician. Anyways, you're doing that step, so you'll just take it with you when you go to the optician to have your vision test. And if anybody has any medical issues, or you take medication on a regular basis and you're gonna indicate that on your form, then I do suggest before sending in the online application, which includes the medical self-declaration, to first make an appointment with a family doctor and have that doctor write a letter stating that your medication or your medical condition do not affect your ability to drive. You'll take this letter and upload it with your online application in the medical self-declaration section of the application, and hopefully that'll go a lot quicker. Okay. Are there any questions about driver's license conversion before I move on?
Yes. So with the date thing, I'm a little confused. I arrived for like a Massage program in January, left in like late July, just came back 4 days ago. When's my date? Like
So it would be January. Since you didn't, since you didn't spend a full 12-month period abroad before your next visit to Israel, unfortunately, your clock started ticking the moment you entered Israel in January.
Okay, so because there's a lot of things that needs to come through or whatever, like, you know, getting a doctor's appointment, all those different things that you said, like that doesn't matter, or like I have to get all those things done before to do this driver's license thing.
So again, you have up until the date in January in which you've entered Israel in order to drive on your foreign license. And then if you want to drive after that, I do highly suggest first getting your Israeli license and not driving on an invalid, what's considered here an invalid foreign license.
Okay. One other question with the proof for like driving over, I think you said 5 years. Do you know what that would be? Like, could it be insurance that you had previously, or? No,
so it'll have to be a current valid license, and it'll have an issue date and expiration date. If the issue date was in the past, 5 years because you've had your driver's license renewed, then you'll have to provide also the previous driver's license to that, or documents from the DMV showing the issue date and expiration date of your previous licenses.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Question, how long does the Israeli license last for? What's the expiration? 5 years, like 10 years? When you get them?
I don't remember. Ariella, do you remember what the expiration date? It also differs based on age. Do you remember what the expiration date of driver's licenses are here?
Oh, a driver's license is valid until the age of 70.
Oh, wow. So just do it once and then like for like next 40 years, I'm all set?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Thanks.
And then it's different after the age of 70, 80, how often it's renewed.
Okay, let's jump into Israeli passport. So for those of you who don't know, after you make Aliyah, you have kind of like a 3-month waiting period.
Can I interrupt for a second? Can I interrupt for a second? When I got my license, it was good for 5 years. I did the expedited license process.
It's a very new. It's very new. It's only in like the past year that they've had this extension.
Right. I'm just telling you, it's good for 5 years. It's not. I don't think it's good to 70.
It is. It's new. Ariella was just saying that this is a new regulation.
That is good till I'm 70?
When did you get your driver's license in Israel?
In the summer. This past summer.
This past summer. I believe it's very new. I mean, we just had this event for lone soldiers, and I was in the room working with Misrad Rishoy, and all the licenses that they were issuing. As I said, it depends on how old you are. But all the licenses that they were issuing were until age 70.
If anybody has any follow-up questions about that, then feel free to call our hotline or send us an email. I'm going to move on now to Israeli passport. Those who just made Aliyah have a 90-day or 3-month waiting period until they can apply for their biometric passport. Because of this, and also because of the backlog at Misrad Pnim, I do suggest that once you've already been to Misrad Pnim to apply for your biometric TEUDAT ZEHUT, then you go ahead and make an appointment for your biometric passport. Make sure that it's 3 months or 3 months plus from your Aliyah date. And why do I say wait until after you've already had your appointment for your TEUDAT ZEHUT? Because you can't have more than one appointment in the system under your TEUDAT ZEHUT number. So after you've already made your appointment for your biometric TEUDAT ZEHUT and you've gone and applied for your biometric TEUDAT ZEHUT, after that, you should start thinking about making an appointment for your biometric passport, because as it is, there is a 3, 4, 5 month backlog. So if you go on right now, you might be able to get an appointment for 3 or 3.5 months from now, and that'll be the perfect time to apply for your biometric passport. Applying for your passport is pretty straightforward. You go to Misrad HaPnim with your TEUDAT ZEHUT, with your foreign passport, and you'll also need to pay for your passport. So it's cheaper if you do it online. And we can provide that link for you where you can go on the gov.il website and pay for your passport online in advance. And if you prefer not to do that, that's fine. Bring an Israeli, it has to be an Israeli credit card, okay, to pay for your passport. You'll go to Misrad HaPnim, they'll take your picture there, and you will apply for your passport. Now, please note that your first passport as Olim Chadashim is going to be a 1-year passport. That's right, it's going to have an expiration date of 1 year from when you receive it. If you've spent 75% or more of your time here in Israel from your Aliyah date until the anniversary of your Aliyah date, so your first year in Israel, if you've spent 75% or more of your time, then after that, you'll be issued a 5-year passport. If you've spent under 75% of your time here in Israel, you will not be issued another passport. Rather, you'll be issued a document called a TEUDAT Ma'avar. We don't need to get into that because it's not really relevant to us right now. But what you need to know is that once you've reached your 3-month mark post Aliyah, you can go ahead and go to Misrad HaPnim, granted that you have an appointment, and apply for your biometric passport. Does anybody have any questions about applying for your passport? Okay. Here on page number 11, you can see a list of the Misrad HaKlita. This is the Ministry of Aliyah and Integration branches. And again, this is your 3rd step after you've gone to Misrad HaPnim and applied for your TEUDAT ZEHUT. You've opened up your bank account, then you go and you visit Misrad HaKlita. So here you can see that we have a list of all the Misrad HaKlita branches and places that they serve. Here you'll see a list of the OLE benefits. Again, I recommend going through this list on your own time before you visit with Misrad HaKlita, so that if you have any questions about any of these benefits, you can ask when you get to Misrad HaKlita and you visit with your Klita advisor. There is a page with emergency information. Apparently, if you dial 911 here in Israel, you will reach the police. So in the case of an emergency, just keep that in mind. If you can't remember that here in this country, it's actually 100 and not 911, no problem, dial 911 and you'll get to them. But there's actually for your own good and for efficiency purposes, there are different numbers to get to different branches. So 100 would be the police, 101 goes straight to MADA or an ambulance, 102 is for fire. United Hatzalah is 1221. So you can see all of these really important numbers here. It would be a great thing to get this information and cut it out and put it on your fridge, because in case of an emergency, it's hard to come up with these numbers. So you want to review it. Here are the numbers for the 4 different Kupot Cholim. Every Kupot Cholim has their own hotline number. You can press the number for English. Unfortunately, I can't guarantee that you'll get to somebody who speaks English. We are living here in Israel now. This is the country where English is not the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, or I think even the 4th language. It might be the 5th language. I'm not sure. But just keep that in mind when you're calling government offices or in Kupat Cholim and you think that you may need some help. First of all, you should know that my colleague Ariella is in charge of our volunteers. There are many volunteers out there who are more than happy to help Olim Chadashim get integrated, make phone calls, do all sorts of different things online. And so if you want to make an important phone call and you're afraid that you may not reach somebody who speaks English, or you want to get your point across, or you might not understand, then speak to us and we'll put you in touch with a volunteer who can help you to make these phone calls with you. So that you can better understand. I just want to explain quickly how emergency rooms work here in Israel. It's different, obviously, because everything is different here. You're in a new country. So when you need to go to the emergency room, if it is life-threatening, okay, we're talking about actual life-threatening stuff, don't hesitate. Call an ambulance, okay? Please just don't hesitate when it comes to that kind of stuff. However, if you stubbed your toe and it really, really hurts, and you think that you may have broken it and you want to go get an x-ray and you think that the best way to do that would be to go to the emergency room, you're probably right. However, before you get yourself in your car and drive yourself or get your friend to drive you to the emergency room, call your Kupat Cholim at one of these numbers, okay, whichever one applies to you. You ask to speak with a medical professional on the phone, a nurse or a doctor. There is always someone there 24/7, a nurse who's able to speak to you, and you explain what happened. I think I broke my toe. I think this happened. I think that happened. I'm not sure. I need to go to the emergency room. And they say, no problem. I'm going to put a referral in your file. Once you have that referral in your file, you show up at the emergency room and you give them your Kupat Cholim magnetic card. They swipe it. They see that you have a referral for the emergency room and you're not charged even 1 agora. If you show up at the emergency room without a referral, you will be charged about 800 shekels if you're not admitted overnight. Okay, so just keep that in mind. If it's not life-threatening, but you would like to go to the emergency room to get something checked out, no problem. Call your Kupat Cholim first. Okay. All right. Also note that Nefesh B'Nefesh, we have a bunch of different services that may help you out. We have lower education advisors, higher education advisors, employment advisors. Ariella handles our volunteers who can help you with a bunch of different things. So if you have any questions about anything, don't hesitate to call our hotline. We'll put you in touch with the right people. Also note that in bigger cities, there are municipal coordinators. These people work at the municipality and their job is to help Olim Chadashim. That is their job. So I know in Jerusalem, there are 2 municipality coordinators. In Tel Aviv, there is a municipality coordinator as well. And in many other areas, also in Gush Etzion area. So if you need any help with anything related to your municipality or local resources, let us know or go and look on our website. We have a link for it and you can see the different municipality coordinators and how to be in touch with them. There's a lot of great information here. I'm not going to read through every word on the pamphlet, but please go through it on your free time. Some really valuable information and also how to be in touch with us. If you happen to live in Tel Aviv, note that there is the Tel Aviv Hub. This is a space, it's a free co-working space, and also our wonderful colleague Dov manages the Tel Aviv Hub, and he's there for, for advice and to talk about post-Aliyah matters. And there are all these great events happening in the Tel Aviv Hub. Also, I skipped over here the Israel calendar. The Israel calendar on our website has all sorts of different events happening for Anglos all over the country. They're not just Nefesh B'Nefesh events. They're affiliate events and, any event that we think may be relevant for our Olim, we post on our Israel calendar. And almost every single day, there's an event happening somewhere in the country, or if not, then on Zoom. So please take a look at our Israel calendar. There's some great stuff on there. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, go ahead, Ariella.
I just wanted to say, Katriel, I wasn't sure if you were referring to like phone calls with volunteers. You can email us or call us at our general number and someone will write down what you need assistance with and then I'll pair you with a volunteer.
Do you have a general number that I can like copy and paste?
Yeah, so it's on the bottom of every page. It's also in the chat. It's the star 3680 and the answers at nbn.org.il.
Okay, got you. Thank you.
Okay, sure, pleasure.
Thank you so much for joining us today. All of you will be receiving a recording of this Zoom. So if you want to go over it later on, feel free to do that. If you want to be in touch with us, please do. call us if you have any questions. We don't want anything to turn into a problem, so call us before it is a problem, and we'll help you figure out any of your post-Aliyah needs. We're here for you, Ariella and I, and our entire team. We all take turns answering the hotline, so you might get one of us, or you might get one of our other team members, but we're all awesome, and we're all here to help. So thank you so much for joining us today, and again, a big masato to you all.